We thought for sure, given where the fire was, that it probably was completely gone. And then we saw the first report that said that the house had burned down, and then it was adjusted that the house was on the damaged list. But it was a couple days where we thought, probably 4 or 5 days, where we thought it was gone altogether. In the beginning, in the first 3 or 4 days, they just didn't really have a good handle. The fire wasn't contained, so they didn't really know what was going on. And then after things settled down, they get people up here, information became available. I think people were frustrated because there wasn't a lot of information in the beginning, but that was just the way it was. There was not much you could do about that. I mean, the forest is way too thick. There should be spacing between the trees. There's not. This area, like 80, 100 years ago, was mostly clear cut from logging and mining. I mean, you see a couple of trees here that are really big. Those are 100 more years old, and then the rest of these trees weren't here at all. They're less than 100 years old.
We talked to a fireman who was down here before, and that's what he said about the stone foundation, because a lot of the fire came up, it spread from the ground or from trees, and so it was hard for our roof to catch because it's metal. And also the stone helped. And then we cut this lawn around it, so we have some defensible space, and I think that helped.
The one thing is defensible space around the house. And that's one of the reasons that this house is still here, is that there's nice space around it, that you can get a truck in here and people can defend the place. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I spent all winter cutting down a lot of the dead trees that were up there, and thinning out around, and I'll continue to do that. We were renting before, so that wasn't really something I was thinking about. Now, as a homeowner, that's something I'll do a lot and think about.
I guess I never really thought about it. I always knew it was a something that could happen. I wasn't that surprised when it happened. I wasn't like, oh, I can't believe this happened. I mean, it was like, yeah, there's fires. It was just kind of more, it just happened kind of quickly, and it was just kind of strange. I guess, no, I wasn't ready for it, but I wasn't shocked. I mean, it's something that happens. I knew it had happened, but it's just, it's any day, it could be today, someone could start a fire. It's just, didn't think it would happen that day, that kind of thing. And I went through the whole, should I have gotten more stuff? But then it's like, how would you have known? And I've talked to other people, and they all say the same thing. I mean, you just you get your family and you get yourself out of there. And that when you look around your house and you're like, what can I take when there's a risk of, danger to you or your family or animals, it's just nothing else matters. You're not once I was down, I was like, oh, I should have grabbed our camera or like some expensive things we had. But in the moment, you're like, it's just stuff. You don't really care. So. I mean, even people whose houses didn't burn, like our neighbor up just next door, they have a beautiful large house. They've owned 50 acres. It's a big horse property. Their house didn't burn, but they were so emotionally distraught by the whole thing. They immediately they talked to us about selling their house to us. They wanted to get rid of it, and they moved to Lyons and bought another house and started renting that house. And that was just in the fall, and they're already moving back. They miss it. They didn't like living anywhere else. They realized that, yeah, fire happened, there's some cleanup to do, but this is just a special place, and they're already trying to sell the house they bought in Lyons and move back here. So
Fire's a natural occurrence up here. It's a forest. It gets very dry. That's a natural, the way that things work up here. And people don't be surprised if there's a large forest fire. I mean, right now there's a forest fire burning in Arizona that's 300,000 or 400,000 acres. This was 6,000 acres. So these things happen. Be prepared. Be prepared to lose things. Be prepared for the worst, really. And I think that people just forget about those. They build a really nice house, and then they assume that nothing's ever going to happen. It's just that's a risk that you should don't be surprised if that happens if you live up here, I think.
I just think it's worth the risk. I mean, yeah, your house burns down, that's pretty awful, but we love living up here. It's really nice. It's so quiet. It's just very special and important to us. And, we live here. We get to enjoy this every day. If our house burns down, you have insurance, you build a new house. Yeah, it sucks, but it's still, the trade-off for us is worth it, definitely.